Howdy everybody, this is a roaming prepper. I hope everyone's having a good day, and I hope you're continuing to try to learn and expand your knowledge base. One of the most important things in preparedness is just having presence of mind to understand what's going on around you. Speaking of that, we've been talking a lot about food prep, food preservation, food storage. I'm going to do a product review right now. I will be right back, and we will talk about what I'm going to do. Welcome back everybody, this is the Roaming Prepper, Pete here. I hope everyone's having a great time. Don't forget to like and subscribe down below, and by all means, if you have any questions about any of the products or things I'm saying, or if I just don't make sense, or you just have a question, feel free to put it in the comments below. You can also email me at theroamingprepper@gmail.com. I think that's my email. In any case, let's get to it. I've been talking a lot about safe food prep and food prepping. Now, there are a lot of channels that have been doing this lately. Ghost Prepper does canning with the Canimals almost every Saturday night, unless someone's sick or working. We got a lot of other channels who do it, and there's a lot of talent out there. But I was asked to compare a couple of different products of the dehydrated type. So I decided to compare a home staple. Well, this is a local generic brand. HEB white cheddar. Let me lower that light a little bit. There we go. Versus the ReadyWise Mac and Cheese. So I figured if we're going to do a product review on this, I may as well compare it to something that everybody knows. So this is basically the store version of the Kraft mac and cheese that pretty much everyone in North America and probably in Europe has eaten at some point or other. Now, just by way of comparison, per serving, it's 250 calories for dry mix, and 1 cup prepared is 390 of the traditional mac and cheese. Per serving for this one, which is 1 cup, is 250, so it's a little bit less caloric content than this, but this expires in 2022, November of 2022, and this one will expire in September of 2036. So you got a little shelf life on this guy. In any case, this is the product we're going to review today. So I'm going to talk about it a little bit. This is a 5.57 ounce. For those of you in the UK or overseas, is 158 grams of food. This is dry, I'm assuming. You can heat it indirectly in the pouch. It is the ReadyWise brand, called an adventure meal. It's listed as one of their entrees, and it is the Golden Fields mac and cheese. It is 16 grams of protein, 2.5 servings per pouch, and it is listed as vegetarian. Now, I will note, made in the US of A. I'm kind of blurring the camera there a bit, but that's not a bad thing. So, there's supposedly you tear open, add 2 cups of boiling water. Oops, sorry. You stir and you wait a little while and then you eat. So this is very straightforward. This guy is the more classic mac and cheese. I'm going to have to use a bunch of water to boil the pasta, and then I drain it, and then I mix 4 tablespoons of butter. That's a lot of butter. 1/4 cup of milk, and the contents of a little packet mix well, and I get mac and cheese. So I'm going to compare these two. The way I'm going to do it, just to keep myself from going insane, I'm going to rotate my camera here and drop it a bit. I'm going to keep it kind of simple. So I've got my pot. So here's my 2+ cups of water. Just to prevent myself from having a bunch of stuff heating on the stove top at once, I'm going to nuke this till it's boiling. So I'm going to cheat a little bit. However, notice this. In order to cook the pasta the traditional way, I'm using way more than 2 cups of water. So right off the bat, if you have to cook a conventional mac and cheese versus the ReadyWise, the first problem you're going to have to use a lot more water to cook a conventional pasta versus a freeze-dried. However, cost, this is a couple of bucks. This was around about $7 or $8 if I recall correctly. So you have the cost delta, but you have a water differential too. So something to keep in mind when you're doing that. All right, so what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to get this stuff boiling, which is going to take a little bit. So I'm going to stop the video, and then we're going to come back when the water boils, and I'm going to make both, and we're going to see what they taste like. Hey gang, so as you can see, I got my water boiling. I'm using the baby microwave to cook that water so I don't have too many pots going at once. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to add the pasta to the boiling water. And it says, I'm going to do it exactly as the box. I'm not going to wing it, which is what I usually do. So boil rapidly for 7 minutes. So I'm going to set a timer. 7 minutes. When you're making classic pasta, always put a little bit of salt in the water so it kind of keeps the starches from coming apart. And give it a quick mix once the pasta hits the boiling water so you don't get clumpy pasta. In any case, so we got to give this bad boy 7 minutes. I'm going to get that water. It's not quite boiling yet, so I'm going to add some time. And we're going to come right back and take a look at it. Now, one thing to notice, in order to make this, I'm going to also need butter. So about 4 tablespoons of butter and a 1/4 cup of milk. Now remember, just because this has a shelf life of about 1.5 years, 2 years, typically this is what spoils. It's a little cheese pack, so if it expires, you can probably still cook the pasta and it'll taste just fine. I've done it actually. One of these will fill up a small pint mason jar without that. This is usually the thing that expires, so just a mental note, if you're trying to maximize what you bought, keep the pasta, throw the pouch, at least for a little while until you cook it. I'll be right back. We're going to continue to cook this, and then we're going to make them and see what it looks like. Alright, so we got the classic pasta finished. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to do exactly as the ingredients or the instructions say. There goes my butter. So keep in mind, if you're making classic mac and cheese, you may need other ingredients. You can actually skip, you can probably get away with skipping if you have no butter or milk or you can't stir it, you could probably just stick this goofy powder in there and just have mac and cheese with no milk. And we did that plenty in college. And now you gotta mix it. You guys know the routine, so we're gonna mix this bad boy up. And in the meantime, we got I've now attracted every dog in the house. They're all looking for a snack down here. Now what I'm gonna do over here, guys, is that water's about ready. It has a little hole on the side of the pouch. It says tear, so I will tear. Try to tear it. And then there's a zip seal in there. So I will take out my hot water. And ooh, it's really hot. Hold on a second. That was a lot hotter than I was expecting. And we will put it, I think I boiled it down a little too much. And then it says to stir. Alright guys, so I've got the classic mac and cheese here. It's already done. This is going to take about 9 more minutes. So what I did, I put the boiling water in here, I stirred it, and I tried to stir it, burned my finger, then I shook it. I guess if you're in the field, you don't have a big spoon like this, you could just put the water in and shake the crap out of it. It does have a zip seal here, and I'm going to let this do its thing. This stuff's done, and then we're going to compare them side by side and do a taste test and see if this is a reasonable substitute. But keep in mind, we're not comparing apples to apples. You're going to get a lot more product in a classic pasta dish. It's going to cost less, but this is made under the assumption you have amenities. This is super light. It's sealed for 30 years. So in reality, they're meant for 2 different things. So when people kind of compare one to the other, it's not really apples to apples, but I wanted to compare them so that everyone has a baseline, right? As an engineer, when you do an experiment or you do a project, you have a baseline, and then you do the project, and you compare it to the standard. Well, mac and cheese from the box is the standard. So let's see what this looks like. We're going to give it a few more minutes, and then I'll be right back, and we'll look at them in the camera, and we'll taste test them. Alrighty, so about 7 minutes into the cooking process, I started shaking it again, and there was no more loose liquid. This is what it looks like inside. So it's really hot. I'm burning the shit out of myself. So let me scoop some of this out, and we'll do a side by side, just so you guys can see. Probably needed to stir it a little more when I first threw it in here. So, but let's see. Get my little cup. Alright, so very cool. Had a few clumps of the cheese powder stuff, but I think again that was partly my fault. So let's see what it looks like. So, this, hold on a second here, folks. Let me back that up again. This is a classic, here we go. This is a classic mac and cheese. And this is white cheddar, so it's a different color. This is what theirs looks like. Oh, so I'm going to spill it on the floor. The noodles are bigger. Again, you see the clumps of the cheese mix in there. And we'll do a taste test. This is probably going to... yeah, go ahead, Luna, go get it. Luna the corgi just got a... Okay, that's good. So this is the ReadyWise stuff. Trying not to get a clump of them. Okay, it doesn't have as rich a cheesy taste, but it's creamy. It's not bad. Noodles are a little overcooked, so maybe instead of the 12 minutes, maybe 10. But the 12, you're definitely cooked. Again, you can see there's little, you can't see it too well, but there's little clumps of that cheese sauce looking, you know, the cheese powder that's kind of in there. Some of the noodles were a little undercooked now. So again, partly my fault. I wasn't able to stir it properly with the back end of the big spoon, but not terrible. Pound for pound. So this one, keep in mind, has the cheese powder, it has actual milk, and it has butter. That is not a bad substitute. That one's really decent. It's creamy enough. The dogs are now licking the floor. Yeah. Not far removed. So, guys, I would give this a solid B, B+. If you use that as an A, this would be a B+. So I would rate this just slightly less than a table-made mac and cheese with the milk and the butter and all the good stuff. Cost effectiveness, obviously you get more food for less money with that, but you do need milk and margarine and some other stuff on the side. You also need a pot, whereas this guy cooks in this. Again, these are not really meant for the same thing. This is not a eat every day at your kitchen with the kids kind of thing. The box, where the hell the box went? I threw the box out. The box pasta is, but it's not bad. This is I'm gonna have Sassy test it too. She'll be my other taste tester, but not terrible. Again, more expensive, but an extended shelf life. So we're 2022 now. This was released in 2021. Good till 2036. So what, 15-year shelf life? In an emergency, if you're backpacking and you have an amenity to boil water and stick it in here, this is great. No pots required. Just need a spoon, even a flat knife, or hell, whatever concoction you can come up with. It was very lightweight, much better shelf life, but not as rich and creamy and less pound per pound food. You have less quantity of food. Caloric is the same, roughly the same, within a couple of percentages on the sodium, on the proteins, on the fibers, on the carbs. They were within 1%, 2% max of one another. The big difference is the mac and cheese that from the box, had less ingredients because it's not long-term preserved. Whereas this one, it has like 8 ingredients, like flour, wheat, some preservative like sodium dioxide, whereas this thing has a big old slew of monosodium glutamate and all sorts of stuff. So this is not for growing boys and girls, but it is meant for long-term storage. So again, not comparing apples to apples. Not a bad product. Again, side by side with a generic BoxTop mac and cheese, and this one will fit the bill, guys. Again, price points anywhere from $7 to $9, and you get less food, but it is long-term storage. So if you have the money and you can fit it into your budget, I would not hesitate to recommend this kind of product in your long-term trips. In the event of an emergency, you can fall back on something like this. And if you're outdoorsy like me, you take some MREs, throw a few of these in there. MREs for when you're hiking, and then when you get to your base camp, you can boil some water and make one of these. Anyway, that's it. This was not a bad product. Certainly worth the money considering what it is and what you're getting for it. Until next time, this is a roaming prepper. Again, don't forget to like and subscribe. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to throw them in the comments below. And otherwise, I'm going to go pack this up and see if I can get more taste testers. Take care. God bless.